Yeah,
time with them?
it's a good day for the kids to experience, to have fun, and to also learn as well. Out here in Parker, Colorado. So it's a hot day, but it's going to be a great experience.
What do you hope to share with them or teach them?
Just the basics. Hard work pays off. Just stay diligent throughout your craft, and it's going to take you. The sky's the limit for these kids, and I just want to share that to them.
There were some guys earlier this offseason that trained with you that were sort of marveling at the basics that you emphasize. What is it like? What is it that these kids can take about fundamentals, things that you still do that are really basic to the game?
Yeah, I think fundamentals is very key. Especially to any sport. Just teaching them at an early age that the simple things is the better ways to do things. Especially that early on at their age. When they're just starting their journey. So I just want to elaborate to them that hard work pays off, but also doing the simple things pays off.
How big a part of your life were camps when you were a kid, and what were some of the camps you went to or wished you would have gone to that you saw that maybe didn't make it to?
My pops growing up, he had a lot of camps for the youth, in Kansas City and Florida. So I remember vividly those days, me going out there, him having the kids out and inspiring them. So, something that I would love to emulate, throughout my career.
Pat, when you win Defensive Player of the Year, how do you kind of sit down and chart, like, what's next for you? Like, where does the bar get raised after something like that?
It's always something out there to do better. Why not get another one? Why not get more All-Pros further on in my career? But I think the main goal is to win the Super Bowl at the end of the day. That's why I play the game, is to win. So I think that's the end goal for me.
What do you see for this defense after being the third best scoring defense last year and then adding some key pieces this year after you've seen it all come together this offseason?
Yeah, we added some key additions, obviously in Hufanga and Greenlaw. Those guys are going to come in, and bring that winning atmosphere. They've been to Super Bowls. They know how to win at a high level. So adding that to the team will only make, our team even greater.
How do you feel like the team's kind of embraced the expectations, and what's the mindset going into training camp here in a few weeks?
The mindset is, just to, keep high shoulders. Don't ride the highs, don't ride the lows, but stay in between. We know how football could get, especially with expectations, especially with predictions and stuff like that. But we try to stay level-headed, stay grounded, be where our feet are, and just grind and perfect our craft each and every day.
Do you talk to guys, like being at Bama, there were high expectations that you guys met. Do you talk to guys about when there are high expectations, how to meet those or how to embrace those?
Yeah, coming from a prestigious school like that, when we win at a high level, I think just all comes down to the basics, the fundamentals. Like I said earlier, doing the simple things right. I think that carries on over to, at this stage as well, at the pros. I was just talking about the kids on doing the simple things the right way, but it also applies to the pros as well. So,
what's been your early impression of Jahdae?
He's good. He's catching on really well. Obviously at Texas, he was a smart, savvy player that understood the game very well. So that would translate well to our defense, and I'm excited for him.
You got exposed to positions like that early in your career, playing, in a slot in camp and all that. Like, how difficult is that for a guy who's just sort of trying to learn the NFL game to get moved around and play in different spots?
It could be difficult, but that's the expectations we set on him. That's the bar we set on him, because obviously we know he's a good player and he's going to do a lot of work for us. So at the end of the day, it's all about, I guess, him learning all those positions, because, he's able to do that as well. So.
And could you see, Bo talked about just how much more comfortable he was. Can you see that with, it's not learning the offense, it's just, building on what they already did last year?
Yeah, it's definitely about building off what they did last year, but obviously going into the second year, he's feeling more and more confident. Even he was confident as heck his rookie year, but, he's going to carry on that confidence, and that composure and that swag with him going in year two. So I'm very excited for him, what he's able to do for our offense.
Is there stuff, you mentioned basics, is there stuff that you learned when you were, a kid, especially from your dad, that you still, put to practice every day?
Yeah, no doubt. It's always things I always take with me early on in my career, early on in my, in my stages when I was, yay high, that I apply to the field now, because all those things translate, right? Football is a dynamic game as it already is, but to be able to simplify it and knowing your keys, I think that's what, makes your game even better.
All right, what are you looking forward to most about your camp today, being out here with these kids?
I'm looking forward to interacting with these kids. Obviously, it's from, grade 1 to 8th grade, so there's a lot of kids out here, about 300 kids to interact with, but I'm very excited, to meet with them and, have fun out here.
Awesome. All right.